Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, LoneStarMopars.com. It's Friday night, May 29th, 8:45 p.m. Bit warm here in the shop, but we're going to have a good time. I got, I think, like 29 minutes on this memory card, so we're going to try to crank this out quick. This is KC Tool Haul number 38. I'm actually kind of filming these out of order, and I'm mainly just doing this because it's about what I have time for tonight. So, what we're going to do, we always get the bit of thanks. They've reverted back to the Filo number 2s, which I actually really like. Those are the ones that are also stamped for KC Tool and Filo. This is kind of like a smorgasbord from multiple tool hauls. If we were to have exceeded the $100 threshold, you get the German tool sticker pack. And of course, as with almost every order, there's a Veriflyer, which we've covered before, so we're not going to jump into just yet. What we have here should whet your appetite for some of the things we're going to showcase. Not a big tool haul, but it should be a cool tool haul, to say the least. So, as always, there will be a link down below for Alpha Gloves. I make nothing off of this. This is solely for your enjoyment, which is a discount if you use the code Lone Star. This is a battle-hardened pair. I feel like these are the ones that I've told you here lately I haven't been wearing because I feel like they're going to get stuff dirty. I've been wearing them and they haven't been getting things dirty now, so I think I've gotten like all the grime off of them. They just look really bad, but I don't think it's going to transfer, to a brand new tool and give you a bad opinion of it. But these are battle-hardened. I've worn these things for a very long time. The most important thing, aside from the fact that they are intact, the stitching, if you recall, I'm not the type that likes these cuffed. I kind of wear them loose like that, so that's my preference. But the impact side here, doing really well. I can tell you the pads, they may not be what they once were, particularly this one, but I will say this, when you've gotten accustomed to having that on your palm, when you're wearing a glove that doesn't have it, it's kind of weird and disappointing at the same time. So, needless to say, I believe that would translate to I like having that. So the padded palm I've actually grown to like. The biggest thing I'm impressed by, though, is that these have not fallen apart. There's no holes in my fingers yet. There's no stitching that looks like it's about to fall apart. Obviously, these have been through a lot. These have yanked a motor, done all kinds of stuff. And the fact that they are intact is nothing short of miraculous. The Mechanics style gloves, the literal straight up Mechanics brand, those have a pathetic lifespan for me. These, again, have done fantastic. So I'm very happy with those. Again, discount code down below. But on that note, since this is a shorter tool haul, from time to time when I have these opportunities, I kind of like to give you updates. These two, along with a couple of swivels from Tekton, were like my go-to ratchets. The Hazet kind of handled everything big, and then I had this guy for the 3/8 stuff under the hood. I've got to say, this at one point in time in the process was pretty dirty, and I've not done anything aside from wipe it down with a towel, just a blue shop rag. Which I've been trying to ration because I can't seem to find them anywhere, and I enjoy having them. But it actually cleaned up pretty dadgum good just rubbing it down, so I was happy with that. The Hazet, I've wiped it down the same way. It's a little dirtier. I don't know if it's just like the lighter blue color or something. Not the end of the world. Both of these have been fantastic. Obviously, no quick release here, but it's kind of a heavier duty ratchet, if you will. This one, it's right up there with the Knipros, in my opinion. It's probably one of my favorite ratchets I own. The Knipros, I do actually use mine. I've tended to just use this on the Challenger, so kind of late model metric stuff. This has done everything on the truck, same with this guy. But both of them have performed flawlessly for me. Very happy with all of them. These two, you will see why they are here later. But that's just a quick update for you. Again, I'm thinking I could probably clean this a little better if I wanted to. But both of these looked quite a bit worse than that, and the fact that they wiped off with a rag I was pretty happy about. So, moving on, let's see here. We've got Ballistol. Let's talk about that, because that was actually brought in. This is Ballistol. It's a 16-ounce can. I've made standalone videos on it. I don't know when or if I'm going to release that, because they were kind of a hodgepodge mess, but this was once 16 ounces. There's no way in the world, in everything I've cleaned and tested, I would have used 16 ounces of Ballistol. Right here, I have a brand new can that is still factory sealed and is going to remain that way under lock and key. That set me back about 22 bucks. And in my opinion, if you're going to use this stuff, that's the way to do it. Get it in bulk. You save money in the long run. Tragic story, if you recall. If you haven't watched any of the Ram Revival, by the time this stuff is out, you'll hear me reference the Ballistol Spill and the smell. If I tilt you over here, that puddle that you see, that stain, this isn't from a car. This isn't like an oil spill gone wrong, tried to clean up, anything like that. Oh no. That, my friends, is Ballistol, and it stained the floor. And it made the shop stink, I kid you not, for it must have been close to a month. I'm going to say 3 to 4 weeks. You would literally walk in here after work, and it was almost overpowering. And I'm talking, this is like still 3 weeks from the date of the spill. I essentially had to run fans all the time. I had to keep the door up and cracked as much as possible. Finally, I got a couple of good chunks on the weekend, and I was able to just air the shop out with the screen down and fans blowing. But as you're in here, you sort of adjust to it, but then when you've been out of the shop for a while and come back, it's bad. I'm just gonna say that. I really do like the stuff. It seems to do good with what I want it to, but I will say this, never let it spill. What happened, I had the sprayer on here. It was sitting here on the bench. I guess somehow there's like, we get strong winds all the time. Stuff randomly falls unexplainably in the shop. Everything was fine. Then I came back in here, I think it was a Friday night to a Saturday like now, which is why this is going to stay far away. And it fell, cracking the sprayer, and then like 95% of what was left in the can leaked, and 90% of that spill is still there. So the smell is kind of gone, but the stain remains. That's why I have that blue carpet. Literally, I can't get that to come up. Crud cutter, goo gone, stain, etching, everything. It's just there. So be leery of the Ballistol is ultimately what that amounts to. But that was our first product that we brought in, was Ballistol. So we got some backup for that. It's going to stay, again, far away. This is the edge of the table. This is the back of the table. It's going to be over there forever. Something else, this was brought in like a couple tool hauls ago, but I didn't include it because it didn't seem to fit. Just another Stahlwille remove before flight. I think that was on a smaller one to help me get free freight. I love those because they're visibility factor, basically. So 228 on that sucker. Coming in next, if you recall, our Gedore business card holder. Hopefully some of you enjoyed that. Well, I picked up another one because it did actually work for me. The part number, once again, on this sucker is EPH612L. Alright, and that is going to set us back, bear with me here, because this is a lot of paperwork, $3.73. That's right, this is a budget deal. We got $5 invested in this and the keychain, and in fact, I don't even think we need to open this. You've seen it before, and if you're like, wait, I wanted to see that, I didn't catch that video, I'll do you one better. I'm going to slide this in. Okay. The reason I picked up the second one, it turns out I do actually like having these wrenches around. I'm not necessarily going to build out a full set, although it's cheaper to do that metric wise. I'm not sure SAE is available as a set, to be honest with you, in any of the brands. But this kind of let me test things, like this little guy down here. It's going to be, of course, since it's Hazet, it's the most expensive. Just the 10mm there. These are all straight and offset the way they do them. Then I've got a Gedore 13 coming in. We've got a Gedore 14. Now these were really, really reasonably priced. Right here I have a Stahlwille 9/16, which actually did come in handy for me. The 14 and 9/16 sort of interchange pretty good for me. You'll see me do a lot of overlap with metric where there's things I like coming up that I have on order, aren't here yet, where I can't get it in SAE or fractional sizes. But since metric is essentially the same, kind of like your 5/8 and 16ths, 14 and 9/16 type of stuff, I'm going to be having some metric stuff that I'm actually going to use on Imperial things, for whatever that's worth. And then right here in the back slots where it gets a little bit bigger, this is one of the Tekton ones. Key difference here, this is a 30/60 offset as opposed to the straight and 30 that I believe those are. So this and the Stahlwille one were huge for me. The Gedore has by far the best price points. You can get those sets if you are a metric person or that's all you use. They are pretty reasonable. Now they are small wrenches. You're not going to be able to get a ton of leverage with them, but it's the accessibility on those that I personally love. So we've covered those two items. What do we want to transition to? Let's go with this. All right, this is something that I had to wait quite a while on. In fact, it came in all by its lonesome. This is from Gedore. It's their part number 3090, and it was expensive. It was not terrible, but $43.66. I think I got it on sale but it's right here in the bag. Gedore 3090. You're probably thinking, oh, we can't see it, idiot. What is it? Well, let me show you. We're gonna drop this sucker out of there, throw the bag to the side. That, you know what that is? You're thinking, you paid 40 bucks for a short extension. What is wrong with you? You know, a lot of you are like, where, you know, go with Vera. They've got like extension packs. You could have gotten like 5 or 6 different sizes, you know, and 3/8. Why do you need something that short? Well, if I quit doing you the disservice of just looking at the matte chrome and the nice knurling on the end there and hold it by that side, you're probably thinking like, wait, what is that? Like, is that like a stick with a magnet? And if that's what you're thinking, you would be 100% correct. That's exactly what this is. So this is why I've got these over here. We're going to start with Stahlwille. We're just going to drop this sucker on. Beautiful. Again, if you hear that mechanism, it is a joy to wrench with this thing. But essentially what this is going to do is allow me to have a socket here, and then when I either install a bolt, if it's like a really hard to reach accessed area, or most notably, like when I was on the back side of the bell housing trying to reach these idiotic transmission bolts, if I've got this on the long end of my extension with a socket, it's going to hold the bolt and pull it out for me. Again, same thing on reinstallation. That is huge. This has a fantastic fitment. Just in general, Gedore's stuff seems to have like a little tighter tolerances, in my opinion. Coming in with Witte Pro, again, anytime we get like a socket or an extension type of a product, I like to kind of showcase that it is in fact functional across the board. Listen to this one. Beautiful. Again, it and the Stahlwille are probably right there at the top of my recommendations. If you got the money to spend, you're trying to get something, you know, not Snap-on or Mac or something along those lines. And just because we've got it, we got the trusty old Arctober Craftsman. Let's drop her down. It's got a little bit more slop, but honestly, it's not that bad. A lot of times the Craftsman actually seems to have like better fitment with some of this stuff. Obviously, it's not near as fine of a mechanism. You know, and keep in mind, this is what I use for the majority of my life. But the bottom line, with the socket, we're going to come in and we'll be able to grab these bolts. Let's come over here. This is what I have handy. It's the first thing I found. Looks like a 3/8, so we have our 9/16 socket, let's say. Boom. It's a beautiful setup. As with all of the magnets that Gedore has, it is pretty strong. I'm not going to lie. But during the teardown, this would have been super ridiculously handy. Now it's going to come in really, really nice for me when we reinstall everything. So I'm pretty excited to add this to the arsenal. But that's the whole crux of why all these ratchets were here, aside from the update. So we've got that. We've got their business card holder / miniature wrench rack, which is actually kind of a cool deal. And we're now to the sort of the two, I guess, stars of the show, if you want to go that route, right? And we're going to start with this one. It is from Knipex. It's going to be their part number 7371-180. Price on this thing is $90.66. That probably tells a lot of you what this is. And, I can tell you right now, there is no way that I would pay $90.66 for this thing. I don't care who makes it. I don't care how rave the reviews are. That's a little steep for this item. But it is from Knipex. You can see it right there. You're probably thinking, oh, side cutters. Okay, yeah, that is high. What is this? You know, stainless? What's going on? Let me open it, and I'll tell you this. This was tool of the day. The next item you're going to see was also tool of the day. Again, I've kind of crossed over. We've you know, mixed together a couple of actual tool hauls. A while back, I was pretty sad. I was on a trip downstate. I think it was for my mom's uncle's 96th birthday last year. Tool of the day when we were coming home late Sunday was the Knipex super cutters, right? The ones with the cool red and blue Knipex handles. And they were on for like, I think, half off, 45, 50 bucks, somewhere in there. That's what I'd waited for. That's what I wanted. I had internet issues of all things when I got home, and I couldn't get them. And I was super bummed about it. I've waited all this time. Still haven't bought them because, again, the price point is just, I can't justify that. These came up on tool of the day. They are not the comfort grip. They're not the red and the blue. I'm kind of sad that they are the plastic dipped with the Knipex stuff online is kind of hard to tell. I was hoping this was like their red textured grip. It'll be okay, you know, it's fine, it's not the end of the world, but, you know, I would have preferred the other grips, if you will, either of them. But for tool of the day pricing, which was roughly half off if I'm remembering correctly, I felt like it was worth picking them up just to have them, to be able to use them, test them, see how I like them, decide ultimately if years down the line these wear out, if we want to go back with them. And that's actually why these items are here. This pair of Knipex is what I want to start with. These were dirt cheap. They're a really good plier. The problem is they are insanely slick. They are still slick. Were they slick when I got them? No. But these have been in antifreeze. A couple of times, actually. A couple of different brands of antifreeze. Late model pink stuff and the classic green. And they got so slippery I couldn't use them with gloves. It made me really not like their dipped handles, and these have been cleaned multiple times. They're a little dirty, a couple of places here and there, but like they're not as bad as they were, but these things stayed like pop out of my hand unusable for quite some time. I think it was finally a deal. I was throwing them down in front of the fans, trying to like dry these out. I don't know if it was something with the antifreeze itself. Typically, like if I get something wet, I dry it off and it's fine. These were not like that. I don't know why, but it put a really bad impression of the dipped handles. And the fact of the matter is, I kind of like this style of handle. They're, you know, it's not much better than that, you know, like in terms for most people, but I find it more comfortable. I like the texture. It doesn't slip on me as bad. These were in the same antifreeze. My handy dandy little mini cobras, right? And they never gave me trouble, especially with the glove and the textured grip in conjunction. But that really kind of, like I said, put a bad impression in my head of that grip. And these, needless to say, shouldn't be in antifreeze, like they shouldn't be in that position. But it is something I keep in mind, and it makes me not ever want to have just the plain Jane dipped handles. I honestly kind of prefer the intermediary option. So, but this is their claim to fame. This is like their big super cutter that would tie in with the NWS Fantasticos and Wiha's bi-cutter. All right, we've got this in both configurations. German tool reviews once again, quite some time ago now. Geez, man, that was probably like a couple years back now. Doesn't seem, time flies, I'll just say that. He's done the shootout on all these. You can, you know, find that video. He did a really thorough job on it. And it's kind of the same thing, like in his test, these are fantastic, but it's just the price point is so much higher than everything else. It's kind of like, well, are they really worth it? You know, what will you be cutting type of a thing. How big of a Knipex fan are you? In my opinion, if these would like come down in price, it would be really nice. More people would get them in their hands. You'd have more people comparing them to the other brands. Essentially, if you catch these on a good sale, you can get them in like the mid-20s, and that's for the full-on epic comfort grip from NWS. The Wiha bi-cutters, I think I've seen as low as like $19.99. You can usually find them around $25. Keep in mind, they do have, you know, like the industrial soft grip, the red and black one. But again, I don't know what it is, but I'm kind of getting to a point in my life where I like the textured handles, you know. But the bottom line is, like, I could probably, if I waited it out for decent sales, not necessarily even tool of the day, I could probably double this collection and still come in with a few bucks for a Gedore business card holder / wrench rack and a couple of Stahlwille Key Fobs and pins before we're able to purchase this one. So that said, I am excited about it, and like I said, I don't anticipate getting it in antifreeze, so we shouldn't have that issue with this pair. But we did get a pretty cool little flyer here, and I don't want to spend a ton of time or we'll run out of time. English, 50%, right? Right here. So, in case of thick wires, the potential to reapply the tool gives you a considerable advantage if you repeat this process several times. Each repetition reduces the effort required. Again, you're kind of come in, you're going to start and then work your way out. Again, the video that German Tool Reviews did, he kind of showcases everything. He cuts all sorts of crud. It's way better than what I could throw together here for you. But that is what I picked up. I got it on Tool of the Day. I would have preferred either their comfort grip or a textured grip. I don't know that they make these in the textured grip, but the bottom line is I am pretty excited to have them. I'm going to use them, and I will do everything in my power to keep these away from antifreeze, oil, transmission fluid, anything. They're going to just try to live like a really good, clean, electrical only type of life, likely on a bench top scenario. So nonetheless though, nice little trio right here, is it not? Maybe at some point in time we'll throw together our own test and comparison, but I feel like it's probably going to mirror what he discovered. Again, check that video out if you missed it, if you need to pass some more time on your weekend. We are now to the final item. This was also a tool of the day. Again, that's something cool I can do for you when we kind of cross them up and mix and match. This is from Witte. This is something that I had wanted for an eternity. And, it's for a couple of reasons. Number one, I really like the handles. Number two, just the fact that it ties in with something that I can't tie in with standard drivers. It is their part number 663980. It is a 6-piece Maxxpro Plus Torx. That's right. I know some of you were appalled, like, really? Like another set of screwdrivers? What the heck, buddy? Nope, they're Torx drivers. We don't have a ton of those, so you know, we're not excessive repetition here. Standard price, which is what I like to give you, $67.64. When these were tool of the day, I want to say they were either like $28.99, $32.99. It's probably like $30 to $35, which in my opinion is a steal for these suckers. A lot of you that have been veterans of the channels will instantly notice something. That is the color scheme here. It is black and it is blue, and man does it look good. So pretty basic packaging. We've seen several sets from Witte that we brought in over the years, but this I've been wanting to do just base handle videos. I think that's what I'm going to try to get into. I'm having to currently, as of recording this, buy a lot of parts, like expensive parts for the truck and some other stuff. And when I'm getting a lot of parts, I can't get a lot of tools, right? You kind of have to balance things out. So what I have is an opportunity to kind of do some videos I've needed to do, which includes like comparing and contrasting handles. And with Witte, you would be amazed, literally amazed, how many freaking different handles these people have. And then the catch is, and I'll just go ahead, let's check this, and then I'll kind of hit you with the insights here. Spoiler alert, I have tried to get some of their pliers because they actually look really good. I was talking with the company direct, and the guy was gonna sell them to me, and then it was like a deal. He brought something up, and I thought, yeah, you know, I'd love to make a video on them. And I don't know, that scared him off or something. Like, I'm not trying to get him free. I was like, yes. You know, explain to me all this, like, you know, import fee and VAT or whatever it is they do. And I don't know, I don't know if the guy like retired or quit or was like, oh Lord, you know, we're gonna get publicity from this and it'll be terrible. He's probably gonna hate him. I was excited. I was gonna get their combination pliers and side cutters, and so I was gonna have to like bring it all in, but that never materialized. KC Tool doesn't sell them. I don't really know of anyone else online flipping these pliers, but Witte does in fact make pliers, and I would have loved to have tried them. So maybe at some point in time the stars will align, but it is what it is. So Witte Maxx, the ultimate in tools, made in Germany, extremely sturdy, ergonomically designed down to the finest detail, and equipped with numerous features for maximum performance. So they've got standard, pro, and then their Maxx line with 2 X's. You know, that's kind of how they would rate them, right? Some of the features here: they got a black tip. They've got the hand stopper. That's kind of a safety feature. It's also anti-roll there. They've got the graphic in handle, or the size in these cases, which is actually pretty nice with the Torx drivers. I realize now you can't see that. My apologies. I'm running out of time, that's why I'm kind of rushing here. Let's see here. Patented anti-slip microfiber coating. They've got a noticeably shaped triangular cross-section, which I personally love. The tri-lobe design. They are made in Germany. And then the multi-function zone where you can spin it and it doesn't roll. Under the time constraints, let's get this thing opened, which I have not done, surprisingly. So this is going to be extra exciting for me. Taking a look down, if we can. You can see the T30, whatever that is. We can't see it with the camera, so we're gonna pull these guys out for you. Oh, those look nice, especially on the Mopar mat, I'm telling you. This is my jam right here. Black and blue, orange and black. I could get some more of that in my life, I'm telling you. We would be happy little campers. So this has been on KC Tool for quite a while, and I didn't ever really think it was going to be tool of the day. I was kind of shocked when it was, and needless to say, it's one of those deals. I saw it late at night and I was like, insta buy. So I've happily purchased these and been waiting to get them. Case in point, we're going to start. This is a very hard to read T15, and we've got a T10 right there behind it. We've got a T20, so we're kind of going in order. Then we've got our 30. That must mean this guy right here is the one I'll probably use the most, especially at work. 25. And then we've got a 40. I would love, almost every Torx driver set stops at 40, which is a pretty big size, and you don't ever go up to 50. Now, I use 50s a lot because when I do stereo stuff, that's like almost always a seatbelt bolt size. I know what you're thinking, like T50, man, you're going to strip that out. Those seatbelt bolts are torqued. I agree with you 100%. That's why I have sockets to do it. But it's not like the seatbelt bolts themselves are like, you know, 1/4 of an inch long, and you can get them cranked in with a couple of turns of the ratchet, which are usually in tight spaces, and you can't. I would love to have a T50 driver just to send it in and to pull it out. I will break it free and then extract it, and then I will drive it in and then torque it. But I would really like to pick up a T50 driver. Anyway, we're going to run out of time. Each one of these has a barcode, which is kind of annoying. It looks like they pull off well based on that one. Tri-lobe design. Some people love it, some people hate it. I love it. It fits my hands beautifully. Something else you'll notice with these, we do have a couple of, looks like the 10 and 15 and the 20 and 25 are probably the same handle size, probably designed for torque applications, I'm sure. But I like it when things that get bigger correspond with a tip, right? So a T40 and a T50, I want a bigger back end on the handle than I do a T10 or a T5 or something tiny like on a, you know, insert at the lathe type of a deal. But where these are going to shine, number one, we've got them stamped, which is nice. These are going to go in a rack. I've got tons of those. The black tip, you've got the size and made in Germany. So I like the fact that we've got T40 on the shaft and the top here. Each one of them has a hanging hole. So if you're a pegboard person, tool board, whatever, you got multiple options there. These are inherently anti-roll by the tri-lobe design. You can see the multifunction spin zone there. What this gives me is an opportunity now, because KC Tool knows this. I've been waiting for like, I don't know now, probably 6 to 8 months or so for Witte to run through their stock of their standard colored drivers and get into this modern one. And I was, of course, going to buy a number 2 by 100 millimeter screwdriver, right? So if you're thinking like, well, wait, if this isn't Witte's color scheme, what was it? Let me show you. Right here, Maxxpro Plus, exact same thing. You can see kind of the fiber anti-slip territory, right? You've got the same design, hanging hole, no size on this one, but it does have the hex bolster. But the bottom line, they've gone from sort of the gray-black, you know, fiber pad and blue as an accent color, to black, blue, and gray kind of a color scheme. We actually just maxed the card out and I had to go delete stuff, so we're back though. What was I trying to say? I'm trying to remember. I actually do like this color scheme. You know, I'm not all black and blue or orange and black. You know, I'm willing to give other things a try. I like different combinations from time to time, particularly if you're diverse. Like if you've got, you know, you love your Filo Organics, you've got some heavy duty crud from Wiha or Vera, you've got like your ESD from another brand, you've got some Stahlwille 3Ks, you know, for hex keys or something. When you go that route, you can instantly distinguish your tools, right? Which has its own advantages. But I actually am not at all against this color combination. I like it. I like the performance of the drivers that I've used, which have mainly been slotted in other sizes, because I try to keep the number 2s mints so we can test them, which kind of sucks for me because I haven't done that. This one actually, the most of that staining was already on it when I got it, so I don't believe ever been used. I think it's just been waiting patiently. But if you recall, they do have some other drivers, since we've got a little bit more time now, like the Pro Tops, right? They've got so many different variations in Witte, it's kind of mind-boggling. I don't think anyone's really ever documented it too well, but I guess they were testing the color scheme differences here with the Pro Tops and stuff, and I'm guessing they decided, you know, hey, this is fared favorably, or we like it, or it's time for a change. I don't know what the exact logic was, but this is essentially the exact same line. It's their Maxxpro Plus. It is their top of the line. This is going to be where you've got a nice handle, you've got the tri-lobe, and you have the anti-slip stuff, right? If people, and there's so many people that don't realize this, a lot of your favorite drivers, you know, particularly Maxxco, they're actually made by Witte. So, you know, people might talk trash on these or be like, oh, that kind of looks familiar, but they're not as good as my, you know, insert rebrand here. They actually make them. That's why they're good. This is where you can come in if you constantly burn through, you know, a T15 for whatever reason. This is kind of an alternative for you, right? It may not be your color scheme if you're doing the oranges or the greens or something, but keep that in mind. Yeah, that's something I wish more people were aware of. But this, again, like I said, I have waited, and it's kind of one of the reasons I hadn't started the handle stuff. I sort of wanted them to just boom, boom, boom. You know, we're going to be like, here's Philo's offerings, here's Gedore, here's Wiha, Vera, Witte, right? And I always knew I don't have this modern updated color scheme because it's simply not available yet, you know, in their screwdriver line. And so Colin and the guys at KC Tool, they've been on hot alert for a long time. As soon as one becomes available, you know, as soon as these are like exhausted in the shipments and one of these shows up, they're supposed to let me know. But I guess just for the sake of getting the videos cranked out for you, I mean, I could come in and we could just use this theoretically and say, hey, imagine a number 2 Phillips on the end. But I'm going to try to wrap this one up. Remember, I was ecstatic to get these on Tool of the Day. It's something that I'd wanted for a long time, just like the Knipex, and this is the deal. I realize, you know, we have a lot of tool hauls, we're bringing a lot of stuff in. You got to keep in mind, I'm thrifty, cheap, whatever you want to call it. I prefer thrifty, you know, as a descriptive word. Mainly just because, you know, when I find something, if it's not like a pressing need, like this, I felt like was a pressing need. I knew it was going to help me. I thought the Stahlwille 9/16 would, you know, be like a huge godsend for what I was going through. And they were. In those cases, I don't wait. I just get them. But in cases like this, I don't technically have to have, you know, new Torx drivers here, but it would be nice. It's something I think is cool. I wish list it. I keep tabs on it. I check Tool of the Day all the time, and every once in a while you get lucky, kind of like with this thing. So again, it would have been in August when they had the comfort grip version of this guy available. I will say, for a pair of Knipex pliers, this is probably like the tightest out of the box, and it's not bad at all. But it is, you know, like typically you get Knipex out and it's just, woof, you know, they're already broken in, it seems. But again, you know, we're going to have some fun with these. Try to keep them out of fluids, you know, as best I can. But I got to say, these 2 Tool of the Days in one video, I felt like it was a pretty sweet setup for you. I hope you enjoyed. I also tried to give you some updates, keep things interesting. Again, when I have like a shorter tool haul, that's something I'll be able to do, is kind of interject some other stuff that you hopefully find interesting or enjoyable. Or maybe, you know, like, hey, you were thinking, I was going to buy that stupid wrench rack. That's what I saw and wanted. Maybe it refreshes your mind, who knows. But again, wrench rack, Stahlwille Key Fob, a can of Ballistol, which is staying far, far, far away. I don't even know if I'm going to put that in the thumbnail. And, again, if you've never had a terrible smell in your shop, just drop a little Ballistol on the floor and let me know how that goes for you. I really do like the stuff. I think it cleans well, but good Lord, it's got a funky smell, and if that stuff ever spills in quantity like I had happen, I feel for you, because I have lived that nightmare and I never want to again. So, anyhow, I think that's about it. We're going to quit rambling. This little guy right here, I think, is going to come in super handy for me. I've never had anything like it. If I wanted to craft this, I'd have to use multiple tools. It would have been like a couple of extraction tools, you know, and cable, magnetic lift tools and pickups that are going to get jammed up in linkages or lines. This is going to allow me to keep the bolt in the socket, which is going to protect it from coming out when we hit those obstructions. And I think this is going to be well worth it. A little expensive for this thing, in my opinion, yes. I think they'd sell a ton more of them, like at the $19.99 mark, personally. It does telescope, keep that in mind. You know, that's something important to note. But if you need to see more on this, I can crank that out. I'm trying to get this done before we time out again. LoneStarMopars.com is the website. Make sure you're following along Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm going to try to get a thumbnail out of this mess, clean this up. Maybe get inside, edit this. Got to schedule a video for tomorrow. But with that said, thanks again for watching. Let me know, what do you think of this stuff? Have you used these super cutters? How do you like them? How do they compare to other high-end cutters you've got? The new Witte color scheme, are you all about the black and the blue, or do you prefer the old style? If you didn't know that it was changing over, now you know. And if you want to snap these up before they're gone, act fast, because I don't know when it's going to happen. Let me know your thoughts on little angled wrenches, which again, I agree, timed out again. I agree, they're a little undersized, but it is what it is. On that note, I do hope you enjoy. I hope you have a great weekend. Feel free to leave your thoughts on any of this stuff, what you'd like to see more of, what your thoughts on any of the tools are, experience, or impressions here on the bench. And with that said, thanks again for watching. I will catch you back here for more from the shop.